Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kryptonized. Wow, it's been a week, hasn't it? Joining me is Barnaby Andersun. We're going to talk through what we saw, what we believe, what we're speculating about, maybe get into a little bit of an argument about who's responsible. So let's just jump right into it. Barnaby, in a few sentences or less, what happened this week?
So obviously, it's been one of the biggest weeks in crypto with the Luna, collapse essentially, and the UST, its stablecoin, and its anchor. Well, it's not necessarily anchor, isn't necessarily tied into Luna necessarily, but basically those three all work together. And essentially, there's speculation that there was an attack made on Luna. So that's what underpinned the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you're following along, it wasn't even a multi-sig wallet that had how much in it? $1 billion, something like that?
Yeah, like basically, I mean, there's speculation going around that, Gemini and BlackRock and Circle, they basically all potentially coordinated into some attack on Luna and its UST. And now, when you go back a few months, the US government was saying that they were going to be going after stablecoins. They made it clear.
Yeah, but they've all denied it, first of all.
Yes.
Now, of course, they could be working in proxy with one another, but, I know Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, and I don't see them coordinating anything with the U.S. government. That's just my opinion. I don't see that happening. Maybe, and they, by the way, they deny doing the exchange, but let's just say they were duped into it or something like that. It's odd because I don't see any investigative journalists raising their hand saying, I'm going to go investigate this. It seems like it'd be a huge story if they found out who was behind it. And since the blockchain leaves receipts, I'm pretty confident that wasn't the only time that wallet was used, and therefore we could figure out, okay, who's behind this.
So yeah, I mean, basically the blockchain does leave all the fingerprints. That's why it's an amazing mechanism of research. You can go in and you can see who's buying what. I mean, this is the speculation. Well, I haven't had a chance. I can't verify what I'm about to say to you, but I was sent this snippet that apparently, now you and I haven't verified this, Mark,
Yeah.
BlackRock and Citadel, according to this report, borrowed 100,000 Bitcoin from Gemini. And apparently that appears in Gemini's loan book. Hey, maybe somebody in the comments can call out if that's true. So they swapped 25,000 of that Bitcoin, of that 100,000 that they got from Gemini, into UST, the stable coin from Terra Luna. And this was all done apparently ahead of the attack. And they called up Do Kwon, who's the founder of Terra Luna, and said that they wanted to sell a lot of Bitcoin for UST. And as that was going to be a very large trade, they wanted to make sure it wasn't on the books. So according to this model of apparently what some people are saying happened, if it's in the loan book, and somebody should check that out, Terra Foundation, Do Kwon, did actually give them that chunk of UST and lowered the liquidity of UST significantly. At that point, BlackRock and Citadel then, according to this model, dumped all the Bitcoin and the UST, causing a massive slippage and triggering this cascade of forced selling on both Bitcoin and UST. And so because BlackRock and Citadel in this model knew that Anchor was holding up a lot of the Luna, and that because of all the 20% offerings that they were, the APR every year, the 18 to 20%, it would trigger all these withdrawals over on Anchor, which they could not repay, and they would just force a trigger massive sell-off on Luna because of the pegging, because everybody always knew that because UST was pegged and you could swap it equally for Luna, that basically the more that was sold of UST, it would essentially trigger Luna going potentially all the way down to near nothing, which amazingly, like 5 days ago, or like a week ago, it was over $100. So in a week, actually, in like the last 72 hours or whatever, it went from like $80 down to like 0.008 cents or wherever it is. And then obviously, if this was true, Because of that massive crash on both Bitcoin and Luna, particularly around Bitcoin, BlackRock and Citadel would be able to, in that model, sweep in and pick it all up on the cheap.
Yeah. First of all, a couple comments on your commentary. This is the problem with algorithmic stablecoins. Let's call it generation one. They'll get better and better. This is a learning experience for the community. This is definitely not devastating to crypto in general. What you've seen or what you've witnessed is something that the rest of us are going to learn from in the next generation of algorithmic stablecoins. Maybe it's hybrid, is that much better. There's also been a slight attack on Tether, which I think has withheld itself pretty well. I know it went down to 98 cents. Not quite sure where it is sitting this second. I think Tether will be fine because it's backed by dollars. Now, there's some questions on how many dollars. I know that, but I think it'll be fine because it's got a real asset backing. It's not based on an algorithm that relies on other tokens to prop it up. The whole Citadel thing for me and BlackRock, they denied it. So that tells me one of two things. Either they weren't involved. Well, three things. Weren't involved at all. Two, maybe they used a proxy. Somebody else to do it because it was on a single wallet. It wasn't multi-sig. That means one person was responsible for doing this. Or three, they're outright lying. And if the community finds out that they were involved, then all hell's going to break loose on both those organizations. So it's going to be interesting to find out what happened here. And I'm pretty confident we're going to find out. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. People are going to keep poking around. This is one of the biggest events in crypto's history that just unfolded. However, it has also happened at a time where historically, when you look at the charts and the halving every 4 years, you get this peak run up where basically, and then it peaks, which is what it did exactly on schedule when it went up to 65,000 or whatever, 69,000 Bitcoin last year. And then there's a crash and then you go into the bear market. It works like clockwork. Every 4 years, this has been happening in Bitcoin's 12, 13-year history. And so now we're into, so you could actually even say that this was kind of pre-programmed into the psyche of everybody involved in Bitcoin and crypto anyway. It's happening on cue, and it always plays out differently. The story is always different about why it's happening, and yet the pattern in the charts is still there.
It's a good segue to say, okay, it's happened. We're going to learn from it. The next generation is going to be better, stronger, more reliable. So what should we do now? Let's take a look at the cryptos. Almost all of them are down, but there are some that were more resilient than others. We may talk about that in this segment. We might have it in another segment, but let's start to go through it, Barnaby, and show your analysis.
Yeah, so basically, you're seeing here, this is over on coinbreaker.com, and I like it because it shows you this 7-day, 30-day, 1 quarter, 1 year at a snapshot of everything. So on the last 12 months, Bitcoin is down by 40%. Whoa. Bitcoin is down by 16, 17% on the 7-day. Ethereum is down by 23% on the 7-day and 50% on the year. And then you've got the stable coins. The next three are, or the next two are stable coins. Then Binance, it's also down 50% on the year. It's also down 23%. So they're actually moving in tandem. Then you got Hex, which people don't even believe. Richard Hart's Hex is in the top 10, but on-chain data says otherwise. It's actually down by almost 28% on the week, but it's up. If you'd held it, it's up by 12%. It's the only one with the green in the 30-day, and it's the only other one apart from Solana here in this top 20. Solana's also up on the year by over 17%. Hex is up almost 100% on the year. And so that's and then you go down the list and you can see Tron is actually up on the last month and up on the last quarter, 40% down on the year. So, you can get so rather than everybody just, jumping at all of this, you can see it's a very interesting, you get a lot of interesting data when you look at the year, at the week, at the quarter. So now the tech hasn't changed any of these. If you're freaking out about Bitcoin, Bitcoin's the same as it was last week, last month, last year, 10 years ago. Ethereum's the same as it was this year, as it was last year. If anything, Ethereum's tech just keeps getting better. Binance is the same. It's got more on-chain, more DeFi platforms. Hex just keeps on growing. It's about to have its Pulse chain released in the next. Pulse chain comes out apparently before the end of May, before the end of the month. XRP's been hammered again, but they're about to potentially, some people saying, winning the court case. So if you do a deep dive into each of these, Cardano's apparently having more tech come out. It's a time, because we're now in this bear market, that's actually often a great time to actually keep building the tech and releasing it. So these technologies, Polkadot, even though it's down similar percentages, 24%, 76% on the year. Wow. Are these, how about Avalanche? Now, this is interesting. It's down 40% on the week. It's one of the biggest losers in the week and the 30-day, but it's only down 8% on the year. So you start looking at this. It's very interesting to see. So basically, the tech keeps on being developed. If you're in this for the long term, but a lot of people are just jumping out because of the fear. But this is actually going to be another amazing time for crypto over the next 12 months, I believe.
I have to agree with you. I think this is a good time to look at what's holding up the best and make a decision going forward as to what to do. At this point, it's probably prudent to be on the sidelines until everything shakes out here. There will be a shakeout, and it will emerge stronger. Mark my words. This is the future. And I was the biggest Bitcoin skepticist when it first came out, but then I've learned through talking to people like you, Barnaby, and my own research and analysis that this is the future, but we're in the wild, wild west, and we're going to continue to see these things. People are going to try and exploit crypto just like they did stocks, just like they did in real estate. Believe me, these scandals are going to continue to happen, but you'll see the strong tokens continue to lead the way, and those are the ones, if you're more conservative like me, those are the ones that you want to be in.
I've been saying for a while that we are in a currency war. And people don't really get what that means. It doesn't mean, see, a lot of people are just getting into crypto and all these things for trading and for asset accumulation. Nothing wrong with that. But something much, much bigger, much more systemic to all of our lives is what's happening around us. We all live our lives from currency. Literally, our lives operate because of currency. We get dollars typically, or whatever nationality you're in. That's what you base your life on. And you get some crypto, that's another type of currency, but now you can integrate it into traditional fiat currencies. But our lives are predicated upon the utility, the functionality, the foundation of our asset, of our worth, of our accumulation of whatever we've managed to get. Now, when we say a currency war, that means even that is at stake. Everything about the value proposition, which is pegged really to the dollar. The world's currencies are all pegged to the dollar. The dollar's under attack. Let's not kid ourselves. The dollar itself, it's no longer the reserve currency ever since this fiasco over in Ukraine and Russia, where suddenly Putin has declared that you can now buy oil and gas not using dollars. You don't use dollars anymore. You use the ruble and you use gold and you use Bitcoin. So that and then you had Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and India and China all come on board with Russia. Some of the next biggest economies in the world all sign up and say, yeah, no worries. None of us will stop trading in dollars. Now, this has gone under the radar. Nobody's really talking about that, but that's what's happened. So that means that the dollar is no longer the reserve currency of the world, because prior to that, you had to trade in dollars for petrol, the petrodollar for gas, and now you don't. So suddenly, all the game pieces are changing. All the currencies are up in the air. Who is going to be the king? Because the king is no longer on the throne. Or he's kind of sitting there still, the king, the US dollar's but he's falling off. He's no longer doesn't have a stable seat. That hasn't happened in.
Well, he's under
that's had 75 years. This has been the case.
Right.
Until like 2 months ago or whatever. So and then you have crypto coming in. Then you have hyperinflation compounding 8% on the US dollar. Like you've had more than 80% of all dollars in the last 300-year history printed in the last 2 years. This is crazy town. None of us have, not your parents, not your grandparents, nobody's seen anything like this. So to start supposing that things are going to be normal, and when you have a whole new kind of currency system, remember, only the kings and presidents and bankers could make currencies before. Not the last 10 years. The last 10 years, anybody can make a currency in the world. So where's this going to go? This is going to be crazy town, and there's going to be attacks because we're in a currency war. So countries are going to be attacking each other's currencies, and different countries are going to be attacking different cryptos. Different cryptos are going to be attacking different cryptos. Massive conglomerates of investors are going to be together attacking various other countries and currencies. So that's a long way of a big thing of saying, well, where are you going to put your money, basically, and you have to figure that out.
Yeah, where are you going to put your money on the sidelines if it's you? The other thing that you didn't mention there's going to be all sorts of, if we continue with the kingdom analogy, there's going to be all sorts of thieves on the road and people trying to do what they did to Luna. So you also have to be looking out for that. So it's concerning times. I see these times of chaos as opportunities. So be on the lookout for them. They will shake out. It will get normal. People like stability. And there's some very smart people in crypto. They're going to figure this out and make it even stronger. So the next hacker has to do even more to topple something like Luna. As you saw, Tether's at 99.5 cents. So they're going to survive this quite easily. USD and Binance stablecoins, they had no problem in this particular attack. So I'm confident that it's going to return stronger, and just look for the buying opportunities. Anything to add, Barnaby, before we sign off?
In turbulent times, the smartest thing to do is get wiser. You have to get wiser. You have to get more educated, and actually, any choice that you make, even the choice of doing nothing, is still doing something. So in the face of doing nothing or doing a lot, get educated. The US dollar is still obviously king. It's still the main. It's what everything is proportional to. But it's under attack. So get wise. Go, okay, so I need to start playing a different kind of game here. Even if this game is the next 5 or 10 years, how can I get super educated and start making, getting educated even in making little moves that get you, it's like going to the gym. This is all like going to the gym. You want to start working out a little bit. That's not financial advice. It's just getting educated and finding an inner fortitude that will have you be able to weather the storms that are ahead.
Yeah, and I know how much it's gone up and down. It's crazy, and I've heard of, a few suicides. It's really unfortunate. Not unlike what happened in 1987 with the downturn of the stock market. I think they called it Black Friday. This is pretty similar to that in some ways. Okay, with that, Barnaby, let's, until next time, my friend.
Next time. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, Kryptonized fans. I've got a special token that I'm recommending for you. You've been following this show. We don't play any games. We'll tell you what tokens we like, what we don't. We have guests that come on and try to convince us, and you know the drill. But this one's a sure winner, and that is Tetragard.